So welcome back to the Stop the Foreclosure show, and just grateful that you're here, my homeowner heroes. That's who you are to me. Is that trying to do everything you can for you and your family to get through these hard times. And so we're here for another episode. We're gonna go through more of the book, kind of talk about some of the things that you can do while in foreclosure, some of the 13 strategies while in foreclosure, and talk about kind of what we do and how we help homeowners, and just help you get through these times with grace and ease, and make the most out of what's going on. Time to make lemonade out of lemons. So just glad you're with us. And I'm coming from a new location, from an undisclosed location in Orlando, Florida. So I'm happen to be hanging out with a friend for a few weeks, and I'm doing some real estate business down here as well and taking care of people. So, um, hi y'all. So let's talk about um, let's just talk about one of the ways you can stop foreclosure permanently, and that is through reinstatement. So, um, you know, reinstatement is kind of the best of all worlds, right? Like we actually find the money and able to get caught up on the mortgage. You maybe have a new job, you maybe get a signing bonus, right? Like that's one of the ways that a reinstatement can happen. Um One time a story is that I was leaving notifications on people's doorsteps, and this wife found it, and I got a call from an attorney at 2 o'clock in the morning who was not very happy with me because his wife did not know about the foreclosure. And I do not recommend that, people. I recommend being open with your spouse and what you're going through, and, forming a team. Like it's us against the world right now, and we're going to take this on, this opportunity to come closer and stronger, possibly as a marriage, instead of letting it, divide you up, right? Like it's a test. It's a true test going through something like this. Anyway, he was not very happy. He called me up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I explained a lot of things to him that he didn't understand because he wasn't that type of attorney, and he was grateful for the call, and we were best friends. But what he said to me is like, "Look, I am getting a huge settlement in the next 2 or 3 days, and I'm gonna be able to clear all this up, and, like, she didn't need to know it." And I said, "I totally appreciate that, right? Like, I'm happy that you were able to reinstate your loan because that's what his plan was." And then he had enough cash to live on for, like, the next year and a half and pay all his bills and stuff. So he was gonna be set, but, like, he was really sweating it. And I apologized for the upset. Like, it was me that was the one that was upset. I was not, I didn't know what I didn't know what I didn't know back then. And I'm glad it all worked for him, but that's kind of the basis of a reinstatement. So, um, yeah, what are your thoughts on it? Do you have any other ideas like how reinstatements can happen, or, like what's possible there? So,
Well, I understand the basic concept of being able to pay what's in arrears and being okay with the bank. And I think that that can happen, but sometimes what happens also is that if they aren't able to take care of what's going on in their life, then they'll end up back in the same place again. So that's one of the things that we can probably, advise people on. What's the next steps?
yeah, and how do you permanently keep it out of foreclosure, right? Like
Right.
pulling out of your 401k is a possibility, right? You could pull up to $50,000 out of your retirement plan, your 401k, as a loan, which is great if you have a plan to repay it back. But if you liquidate your 401k and you're young, or, like, you just may never get that back again. Like, and you could be stuck in that house potentially for a long time, or without a retirement plan, and my suggestion is that no house is worth that. Okay. And some of you may not want to hear that, but no, like saving your home and your family and your future is more important than the house that you live in. So, um, you know, just look at the long-term consequences. Cindy said, like, if you're able to get caught up today, but you cannot make payments in the future, you're just going to be back in the same place. So look at how to maintain that reinstatement at all possible. And like KK, you're a great example of that, right? Like you are a serial entrepreneur and you're starting up another business, right? Like you got that hustle going on.
Yes. And definitely like, communicating and really looking at your options. And the thing is, even when you set out a plan, things change and things come up that might end up having to pivot or make some changes, but just always being aware of options and communicating with experts and reaching out to people who have experience in this market and who's been down this road before, being able to just relate to you and just really point you in the right direction to options, because that's always the thing is, where do we start? Where do we go from here?
Right.
So, I hope
Have plan B.
yes.
What was that, Maureen?
I said always have a plan B.
Yep, always have a plan B, yep, or plan C, D, and E, F, right? Like, do not lea do not leave things to chances, and, and it may be a life lesson, like, what was missed that would've made a difference not to get into this position, right? A little self-reflection might be a good thing just to see what could be altered in the future that, might prevent sort of thing or something like that, so, yes, it may be a little painful, but, to keep you out of trouble in the future. And the thing I want to mention right now is that how you find out how much you owe on the house, like the entirety of it, all the fees, all the penalties, all the legal stuff, is called an estoppel letter. That is the letter that you use, or the form that yeah, the letter that you use to basically to determine how much that is. I'll either have a link to an estoppel letter down below from our website, or you can Google estoppel letter and see what one looks like. There should be plenty of examples out there. If you don't want to go to stop the foreclosure dot expert is our website, not .com, dot expert. So that's a resource for you as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, reinstatement's a beautiful thing if you're able to do that and see a plan to continue on. So, okay,
You probably wanna also talk about the, what is it called again? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in case, you know, they have troubles with a bank when they're in the process of reinstatement.
yes, well, and you should. I just because of the new administration that's coming in and where we are time wise, that they've talked about disbanding that. So you're just gonna have to see if that's still in existence to help people, because it has helped people in the past, and it is a great resource. So you might have to just check to see if that's still available. So and yes, and we'll it's gonna be an interesting 4 years, people, and we're here to help. So that's what I'll say about that. Um, all right, so let's move on to loan modification. We are going to have a course available for you all. You can go to the website again, stoptheforeclosure.expert, put in your email, and we will set you up with a course. I just think it's really valuable to kind of have a step-by-step process. And the other thing is that we request that as you kind of do your loan modification, that you give us feedback. Like, what do we miss? What did you see that was different than what we talked about? What would make like what information would you like to know about before going into a loan modification? That sort of thing. So yeah, so we're looking forward to that. And um, I know it's kind of like it is one of the longest chapters in the book, isn't it? That we have. I will put it up as a blog on the website again. So if you can't go to Kindle or yeah, Kindle to purchase the book, I'm gonna have like a free copy on the website as a blog. So you just have to search whatever blog loan modification is if you want to read about it. But the course should have everything that we know about loan modifications. So
And one thing is to start as soon as possible because it's not gonna be a quick and easy process.
no, no, it has gotten easier as time goes on, but yes, it is definitely gonna be a process, and it takes some mental grit to get through it, right? Like, it's not, because the banks keep losing paperwork. They don't make it easy by any means, right? Back in the day, the story was that, like in 2008, 9, 10, 11, the banks were getting $900 for every loan modification file they opened, okay? Didn't mean if they completed it or not. So guess what happened to a lot of those loan modification files?
Duplicates.
Yeah, or they just never they opened them and then just forgot about them, right? And then, people thought that they were loan modification when they really weren't. So you really have to stay on top of the bank. You really have to document all of the phone calls you make. You have to know
Right.
the timeline really well.
Yes, be sure and be a good accountant in all your records and write down the date, the time, and the person you talked to and what the subject was
Yep,
every time.
yep, and make sure you're sending the money to the right department, okay? Like, because sometimes you'll send money in and it won't get counted towards your loan modification program. I've heard of that. And also, to know the standard operating procedures for the bank. Like, keep asking them because they have books. Not they just hire like low level employees to. And I'm not trying to put anyone down that works for them, okay? But it's really kind of an entry level job to do loan modifications, and they don't know everything. So they have a huge notebook that has the standard operating procedures. And the more you can know about that notebook and how they operate, the better off you'll be. Like, that will really help you understand their processes. Um, yeah, so what else can you think of, y'all, that I'm missing about loan modifications?
Are the two most important things that I think are starting early, completing all your paperwork, and knowing that it's going to take time. So be have some patience, but also don't let them just forget about it.
Right. Follow up, and follow up. You just really have to be a bulldog on it, to make sure it goes through and the committees that are supposed to be seeing it are seeing it, and you understand the timeline, and they also will try and trade uh they'll try and trade employees on you because they don't want anyone from the bank or the servicing company to get too attached to you. Okay, and you want to tell them your story every time. Like, one homeowner, Joy, she had two autistic children, and she made sure she made friends with every single loan modification officer at the bank. Like, they knew who she was. She would chase them around the building if they got moved from one department to another. She'd find out what their new extension was and get a hold of them. Like, she was just ruthless about working with the same person. And, she got her loan modification because of that. I mean, she was successful because she worked the system. She knew about standard operating procedures. I learned so much from her about how to the social engineering of it all was beautiful, and she really just taught me a lot. So that should be in the course as well, just about the social engineering and working the people over. And you know, KK is super charming. I'm sure she could get them to move her loan modification in a heartbeat. But that's I think it's really important, right, to be friendly and to be positive, even in the midst of what you're going through. Is that if you make their day, they're gonna try and make your day. Okay. Yeah. So do you have any tips, KK, on being super friendly? Around.
Yes. So one thing I would definitely recommend is look at their time of operations. Usually when they open is probably the best time to catch them because throughout the day, the wait time can just be very long, and time is of the essence. So if you can really get in there when they first open, start calling so that you can get them fresh in the morning. Tell them good morning, or if it's during a holiday season, happy holidays, or however you can do that little icebreaker, in your conversations. And one big thing I like to ask them, like, oh, where are you located? What the weather looks like over there. Because who knows, a lot of the times they are working from home and sometimes they're in the office, but just having something to connect with them would be my best recommendation.
Yeah,
Yes, their first name, knowing their first.
and
You
you
could even ask them how they spell it.
Oh,
Just
that's a good one.
yep.
Yes.
Yep. And, finding out more about their family and their situation, right? Like, have them really relate to what you're going through, okay? It's super important. And
This is their career too. So they have a lot of experience, and sometimes I'm like, okay, so if somebody's in my situation, like, and then try to just see, what direction they point you to. And yeah.
oh, or using the example, like, if you were in my situation, what would you do? Like, what would, like, tell me, like, how can I help you do this, right? And yeah, because you want them to be your best friend. You want them to be on your side, pushing that paperwork uphill to get things done. And I'm gonna say this as a generality, is that almost always you should try for loan modification.
Hmm.
Because if you decide to keep the house, it should help you, right? And then if you decide to work with us or another, like another opportunity, and maybe even turn into a rental, work with us, that is always going to be a beautiful thing in terms of cash flow. But one other final point, or another point I really want to make, is what is a good loan modification? Okay, we're going to talk about forbearance next, and I'm just going to say quickly what that is. So forbearance is where you take your arrears or what you owe, and you kinda stick it on the back end of the mortgage. And that's a temporary fix, right? Like, you have to kinda start making payments immediately, and it can also cause a balloon payment when you go to sell the house, and you just gotta be prepared for that. Or if you end up keeping the house to the end of the loan, that you might have a big chunk of money to come up with it all at one time. Forbearances are a temporary fix. The ideal loan modification is where you get principal reduction, okay? You get to keep the same term for the loan, but they lower the interest rate down to like 2% or less. All right? Like, you want to be fighting for those things. You don't want them to extend the loan to 40 years. That does not help you. That just puts more money in the bank, okay? A forbearance is only going to help them later and hurt you later, all right? A temporary interest rate thing, it's a shock to the system. Like what we're seeing now is these people that have gone 5 years with a low interest rate, and then all of a sudden it bumps up, and they're paying 2, 600, 500, $700 more a month than they've been accustomed to. And even though they know it's coming, unless you're really prepared for it, it's a shock to the system and puts you back in the risk of foreclosure. So just really fight for your permanent low interest rate, same term. Do not extend the term of the loan if at all possible. Like those, and principal reduction. Those three things are the goals. Okay. So I just want to put that out there, like, that's what's possible. People have gotten those things, and that's what you should be fighting for, and that's what you should be befriending the loan officer. And by the way, these people generally get, um, I don't know how to say this nicely, but they generally have to deal with a lot of crap all day long. Okay, they are talking to homeowners that are complaining and whining and yelling at them. And if you are nice, you will be different. And my expectation is they will treat you different, and treat your file different. So just want to put that last word into, is in terms of, like, even if it is late in the day, right? Just make their day. Just try and make them laugh a little, have a little fun, even if you're going through what you're going through. I'm not denying that one little bit, but you need to make friends with these people so that you can get what you're looking for. Okay, so I think we're just gonna wrap it up on these two today. Well, let's talk about forbearance because forbearance is pretty quick. So to wrap up forbearance, like I said, it's basically taking everything that you're in the rears. I'm gonna go the other way. It's taking everything in the arrears down and putting it in the back end of the loan. Um, it's a temporary fix. It might buy you 6 months, and maybe that's enough time to sell the house or to come up with another plan for the house. To maybe get a cash flowing with if you do short term rentals or something like that, or to work with us. Like that's all possible inside of a forbearance. And maybe that's the best you can get out of the bank, and that's what you have to live with. But it's just temporary. So yeah, yeah. So um. So I want you all to talk about like what do you think we offer homeowners that we work with? The ones that have said, "Okay, I'm kind of like I'm ready to turn my house into some cash and cash flow, right? And I'm it's okay with me leaving this property, right? This house, this physical structure and taking myself and my family and my situation to a new home, right? To create a new home." What do you think we offer people that way? I want to kind of get your perspective on it, the two of you. So,
I guess I'm gonna have to say, 'cause you can't always stay in your home, but if you have a place to stay, I mean, our home, I realize that people feel like when they buy something, they have a home, but that isn't really your home, you know? That that is just a physical entity, so to speak. Any place that you go, whether you have I mean, some people have to move out of the state when they have a job. So they have to start over again. And that's really important to know that you're moving ahead. You're not you don't have to be stuck in that situation. And we can help you with moving ahead.
yeah, well put. Well put.
That was really nice. Well, we definitely will show up for you. Look for your best interests. Really, see where you want to be and how we can coordinate that so that it's a win-win situation for everyone around. And this is just, life happens, and there's always options and a solution. It's just going through the little speed bumps along the way, but we'll be there alongside of you and, answering all your questions and just getting you prepared through this process so that, you can, once everything gets settled, then you can start new. And then guess what? You can just make a whole new beautiful life and starting over again and just relieving the stress and just, yeah, starting on a new clean slate.
Yes. And what was shown, back in the last, back in 2008, 9 and 10 was the people that dealt with the situation, quickly and with decisiveness were in a much better place in 2016, 17, and 18, right? Like there have been realtors and people that I've talked to that, these people dealt with their housing situation and they moved on and they found, new location, new job, and they were just much healthier. And I also came across a lot of people that, that were in their house for 5, 6, 7 years even. Um, and they were just miserable. They were just unhappy. They didn't know if they're going to lose their house at any point in time. Like they're always living in stress. And, so yeah, so that's one other thing I wanna put out there. The people that really got it resolved, either, was able to permanently stop the foreclosure through reinstatement or one of the other many ways that we'll talk about, or they work with us, that puts you in just a much better, healthier spot is what we've seen historically. The other thing I'm gonna say is that, I've come up like, my goal I was challenged by one of my mentors, my teachers to like, how can we provide financial stability for people in foreclosure? Okay, and it's a new thing that we're bringing our the company that, or what we call is no more foreclosures. That's the company that basically is our kind of our real estate company that helps people or works with homeowners. So I've been challenged. I was challenged, like, how can we come up with financial stability? And I think we have a solution for that now, where we can actually create financial stability for you and your family that could actually last generations. So, we're always trying to improve what we do with people that we work with, and I think we have something else. And look, even if you don't work with us, we still want to offer our education and our thoughts and what we would do in that situation. Not so much advice, right? Because we're not attorneys, we're not financial advisors, we're not tax experts, we're not real estate agents. Okay, I'm going to put that disclaimer in there again. But uh, we do have certain life experiences, and we have the collective community of the people that we've worked with. So, book that 30-minute call with us on stoptheforeclosure.expert. Get our assessment of what you're going through and maybe some of the options, and then just choose what's best for you and your family. Because that's what we care about most, is that, it's your decision, it's your life. But we just want you to make smart choices, educated choices, and really create that financial stability for you and your family, in the long run. So that's what we're
Yes,
committing.
that's one of the things that I wanted to say is that it's not just about stopping the foreclosure, but looking at what's going to help you in the future rather than having you end up in the same situation. That's what I feel like we're going to be bringing to people.
Yep. Yep, I now have a plan for that. I see how to do that, and how to set that up for people. So, very excited to, yeah. So set up an appointment. Let us, share what we can offer for you, and educate you about some of your other options. You may not even know about. So, well, thank you for joining us for this time. We just appreciate you being on here and letting us kind of share what we know, and you know,
And a happy holidays, happy new year.
Yeah, yeah, we are recording this at the end of 2024. So, yep, thank you for being here for now. And yes, so y'all take care out there. We love you immensely, and we just wish you the best. And we'll talk
Love
to you.
you, homeowner heroes.
Home on it grows. All right, take care, y'all.